For if the blood of bulls and goats and the ashes of a heifer, sprinkling the unclean, sanctified for the purifying of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Yahshua, who through the eternal Son, without blemish to the Most High, purge your conscience from death-causing works to serve the living Elohim. And for this purpose, he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death for the For where a covenant is, there must also of necessity be the death of that which ratifies. For a covenant is made firm over the death of the victim. Otherwise, it is of no strength at all, while that which ratifies is alive. Whereupon neither the first covenant was confirmed without blood. For when Moses had spoken every precept to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of calves and of goats with water and scarlet wool and hyssop, and sprinkled both the book and all the people, saying, this is the blood of the covenant which Yahweh hath enjoined unto you. Moreover, he sprinkled likewise the blood, both the tabernacle and all the vessels of the ministry. And almost all things are by the law purged with blood. And without shedding of blood is no remission. It was therefore necessary that the pattern purified with these, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. For the Messiah has not entered into the holy places made with hands, which are the figure of the truth, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of Yahweh for us, nor yet that he should offer himself often, as the high priest entereth into the holy place.
We'd like to ask that everyone please silence our cell phones and pages and electronic devices. And for our first speaker this morning, we'll hear from the secretary of the school, Dr. Alicia Key.
Good morning, class.
Good morning.
All honor and praise unto Yahshua Messiah. We are up and we are breathing this morning. Okay. We've been talking a lot about the old covenant, the new covenant, and what, you know, kind of are the signs and what we're responsible for. And what Yahshua brought to me was that I had not talked about a sign of Old and New Testament that's right within you. Okay? And so that's what we're gonna talk about this morning. I'm gonna grab the first one. Can someone get for me Romans 1:19-20?
Romans 1:19-20. Because that which may be known of Yahweh is manifest in them. For Yahweh hath showed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world.
Okay, the invisible things of him from the creation of the world. So when he gave Moses this tabernacle pattern and gave him the old law, they're clearly seeing, he told him, and he tells us that we can clearly see what our existence is. Go ahead.
Being understood by the things that are made.
Okay. So he tells us we can visibly see this by the things that are made. The first thing we learned, or I learned, it was that of Yahweh Elohim's threefold nature and how every Yahweh and Yahshua three reference to this temple pattern or around about places. But what I learned was everything goes by his pattern. And we have well. A head cavity, a chest cavity, and an abdominal cavity, but there's one physical body. So something I was thinking about one day Yahweh showed me was, okay, there's got to be a semblance of a new heart. You had an old covenant back here, the Moses was given, and Yahshua's death, burial, resurrection ushered in a new covenant. It's got to be some example of that in our physical body. And that example of that in our physical body is the heart. The heart that you have, and I'm just gonna kind of go through it real quick. The heart that you have now is your new heart. This is the heart that Yahweh is communicating with. The old heart you had was there when you were in your mother's womb. And what do I mean by that? The heart does not function the same way outside of the womb as it does inside your mother's womb. And the thing that instantaneously changes it is the breath of life. Okay, can somebody give for me Genesis 2 and 4.
This is Genesis 2 and 4. And Yahweh Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
Now, when you are coming into this world, and it's that breath of life that changes that heart. So who gave it to you? Yahweh Elohim, he gave you a new heart starting out with. Okay, go ahead.
And man became a living soul.
And you became a living soul. I don't care how much we do in the delivery area. If a baby does not come in with that, we can do CPR all day long. If Yahweh has not meant for that soul to be, he don't give it that breath of life. And I don't care how much CPR we do, it won't change that. Okay? Now first let's look at the normal infant and adult heart. Normally, you get unoxygenated blood, which is what the blue is. The red is oxygenated, which means it has red blood, it has got the oxygen in it. Your inferior and superior vena cava brings the blood from the rest of the body to the heart to be oxygenated. When it comes in on this right side, has no oxygen. The atrium beat, when they beat and push down, because they beat you, the atrium's left and right, the ventricles left and right. They beat together. So both atriums beat, and then the ventricles beat. So that forces blood from the atrium down into the ventricles. So with this on the right side, this blood doesn't have any oxygen. And then when it goes to the right ventricle pumps it up into what we call the pulmonary artery. There's only two places in the body where you have an artery that doesn't have oxygenated blood. That is the pulmonary artery and the fetal arteries coming from his umbilical cord, okay? Because, well, we'll get back to that. But anyway, it comes here and it goes down. It goes out into the lungs, which then gives it oxygen. It returns back into the body, into the oxygenated blood returns back into the left ventricle. Then it's pumped down, the left atrium. Then it's pumped down to the ventricle, the left ventricle. At that point, it goes out through the aorta. And that aorta, now you got oxygenated blood here on the left side, unoxygenated blood here on the right side. And it therefore sends it up into the artery, the aorta, which then takes it to the rest of the body. Okay? Take that. Now, with the fetal heart, as it says in Romans 1:19-20, you can clearly see that is not how your blood circulates. Number one, because the infant is not actively breathing oxygen. And I say not actively breathing oxygen, it's because in the fetal heart and lungs, the fetus has something we call fetal respiration. And basically they swallow it. It's just so they can get used to when they're being born, taking in their first breath, but it doesn't actually go to the lungs. But they kind of suck in, spit out, the amniotic fluid. Okay? Now, while this baby is in the mother's womb, you have two important ducts. You have the foramen valley, and you have the ductus arteriosus, which I'm going to explain in a few minutes. But Miller, can you first get the definition in the medical dictionary of what the patent foramen valley is? And this is a kind of little close-up of it, because right here, between the right atrium and the left atrium, is a little opening. And that little opening, because first of all, as we said, fetus don't breathe. So where do they get their oxygenated blood from? They get it from their mother. And it comes in through the pulmonary vein. Okay? Not pulmonary vein, sorry. The umbilical vein. Because you have three, which also is so awesome. Do you know you have three vessels in that umbilical cord? You got two arteries and one vein. Father, Word, Holy Spirit. Okay? So everything follows the pattern, including you. That's why we're not made with hands, because we might forget a step. I might be more concentrated on what color hair I want him to have, or what color eyes I want him to have, and forget all about how the heart functions. Or I might not even know how the heart functions. That's why we're not allowed to do that. Okay? Because we be more concerned about the outer man. This old tabernacle. It's gonna get old and wrinkled and everything else, and it ain't gonna look like we originally wanted it to look when it was born, okay?
What did you want me to look up?
I want you to read, Foramen of Valley. That's the first, that should be the first, no, it's the second one. It's the second, piece of paper I put in the dictionary. And I put an X next to the definition. Because this is very important. Because this does not remain open once you take that breath of life. It closes. Why? Because then you go to the regular adult heartbeat and how the blood circulates through. Okay? The reason, did you say no? I have a little X in front of the word, it's F, foramen.
Let's see.
Okay.
Oh. Foramen ovale, an opening in the septum between the right and left atria in the fetal heart. This opening provides a bypass for blood that would otherwise flow to the fetal lungs. Most of the blood from the inferior vena cava in the fetus flows through the foramen ovale into the left atria. After birth, the foramen ovale functionally closes when the newborn takes the first breath and full circulation through the lungs begin.
Okay, so at the time of birth, you have functioning brain, all your major organs. The only organ that really isn't functioning yet after birth is the reproductive system, because that waits for a time to come into maturity and function. Okay, but all of them at birth function, but I don't care if they all function. If it doesn't go to the lungs, then you have no oxygen and you won't live.
Right.
One of the things that they check, the pediatricians check, or neonatologists check when a baby is born, is this closed. Because there's still a little murmur there that might exist for about 2-3 months. And then it should be completely sealed. Some people, it don't seal. And when it doesn't seal and it's major and it's causing the baby, for example, when he cries, he turns blue. Okay? Then they have to go in and surgically close it. Okay? Now, when I talk about this, and the reason why I talk about that foramen ovale is because what it does is when the blood comes into the baby through its umbilical cord, it goes through the inferior vena cava here to the right atrium. This blood coming in has the oxygen of the lungs. And you know what? It's so beautiful. Yahweh, he's awesome. Because when the placenta receives that blood and takes it through the umbilical cord to the baby, the placenta has a beat and a sound as well. Sounds a little bit like a washing machine. Okay? And what happens is, as the mother's blood, like I used to think before I went back to school to become a midwife, and we get more into detail about all this, that it kind of went straight into that thing. But no, it's just like, to show you how awesome Yahweh is, it's just like the high priest here in the most holy place. He sprinkles that blood. And that's how the blood comes out of the mother, and then the placenta grabs it and pulls it into the heart and the umbilical cord. So it's not like a direct line from the mom going shh, no. Like you out there in the sprinkling rain. Okay, so that's beautiful because, wow, we're not made with hands. Okay, now, with this foraminal valley, what happens is this blood that's coming in from the mother has oxygen in it. And because the lungs are not functioning yet, instead of this oxygenated blood going up into the lungs to be oxygenated, it comes straight across to the left atrium. And then gets pushed down to the left ventricle, and then gets pushed out to the rest of the body through the aorta for the rest of the limbs of the baby to be on. Now, this also has another thing that occurs. Just in case you get a little bit of mixing here, it also has something called a ductus arteriosus or patent ductus. This is when the aorta and the lungs have a direct connection. Because as this blood comes around, a little bit goes up here to the lungs, okay? But right here, this aorta connects with that artery, pulmonary artery, and it allows blood to come across here as well. So that the lungs also get some oxygenated blood. This is called your ductus arteriosus. Can you, the next definition is ductus arteriosus.
Ductus arteriosus, a vascular channel in the fetus that joins the pulmonary artery directly to the descending aorta.
Okay, directly to the descending aorta. As we talk about it, the aorta comes up, around, and we talk about it all the time because you got your 7 branches, right and left coronary arteries, right and left arm, coming down the abdomen, that's 5, and then you got your legs, your lower extremities, left and right. That's where this is going. But they also make sure, Yahweh also make sure that these lungs get some of that oxygenated blood too, because see, the lungs is not breathing. But the lungs get this oxygenated too, so that they can grow and mature and be functional when the baby's born. So when you look at this whole process, what triggers the change is the birth of that baby. And these automatically close off. It don't function that way. If you have your heart functioning this way after birth, that's what? Anybody tell me? That's death. That's right. That is death. Mind you, old law. You under a different law when you're in your mother's womb than when you come out. That old law had to die off, being fulfilled by Yahshua the Messiah. Okay, remember, you're not made with hands, so who made you? Yahweh Elohim. He wanted to give us something that we can look at and know, wow, this is true. This is how we're able to look at things in our environment and see that Romans 1:19 and 20. Okay, can somebody get for me Genesis? Do I have Genesis 2 and 4 read? I think
Yes.
we just read that one. Okay. Can you get for me Jeremiah? No. Exodus 25:8-9. Now, Yahweh Elohim knew when he gave these tables of stone, those 10 commandments and those 613 ordinances that went with it, he knew that these people were not going to be able to keep that law. So therefore, he had a new law plan for them. But he let Moses know back here to make sure that this tabernacle is made exactly like it's supposed to be made. If it is not made like it's supposed to be made, then you got error going on. Do you realize that on ultrasound, they also trace the baby's heart? And if there's an irregularity with that heartbeat, then we have to send the mom to see a fetal cardiologist? Because there might be a problem when this baby is born, because this baby might be trying to carry that old law into the new law. You can't carry this old law and live. It's got to change. This heart has to change. Okay, do we have
Exodus 25:8. And let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them.
Okay, he wanted him to make a sanctuary here, where he could dwell among his people. Go ahead.
According to all that I show thee, after the pattern of the tabernacle, and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall ye make it.
Okay. So, get 40 and hold it. So therefore, when we're being, as I say, designed and made in our mother's womb, there's a certain pattern that it has to go by. You can't have all of this functioning like you did once the baby's born. Because then what you're gonna do? You'll mess with the lungs. Because the lungs are not mature enough to handle that change. That's one of the things that we look for when we worry about with premature babies. Because their lungs are not mature enough to handle that blood volume from this whole body that's got to go to it and be oxygenated. Okay? 40.
Exodus 25:40. And look, that thou make them after their pattern, which was shown thee in the mount.
So Moses, when he was given this tabernacle pattern, could not make an error on any of these structures, on how it's all functioning, how it all works. He could not make an error with that. Otherwise, this wouldn't work right. If an error is here, once this baby is born, it's not gonna work right. So it has to be made a certain way. Okay, that's our Romans 1:19 and 20. Now, let's talk a little bit about when this baby is born. When this baby is born, for premature babies, and I mentioned it, what they'll do is they'll give the mother a shot of medication. Right now, it's slipping my brain, but medication of betamethasone. They give the mom a shot of betamethasone so it goes to the baby to kind of jumpstart these lungs to be mature, so that they can handle the blood once the baby's born. Okay? And also with that, this ductus, you get a baby that's born at 29, 30 weeks, this wasn't ready to close yet. This wasn't ready to close yet. Okay? And when they listen to the baby's heart, they can hear it as a murmur. And they'll, if it's something they're concerned about, they'll let the mom, okay, this ductus arteriosus is still, they won't tell them what it is, but they'll just tell the mom, the baby has a heart murmur. And, mention that the baby should see the pediatrician at 2 weeks, okay, or a month. In most cases, they consider you have some heart problems, they want to see their baby back in 2 weeks, okay? Now, when this all changes, and we read Genesis,
Yes, 2 and 4.
Okay, 2 and 4. When Genesis 2 and 4 takes place, okay, what do I mean by that? When Yahweh Elohim has the breath of life breathed into you, then at that point in time, these close. So what does that mean? That's the end of the old law. Where do we have that here? In our tabernacle, in our charts, when Yahweh Elohim through Yahshua the Messiah came on the earth plane and he reached his 30th birthday, that ended bam, gone. That ended the old law. Because now he went about fulfilling this law and ushering in at his death, burial, and resurrection, the new law. In other words, he gave us a new heart. And it says that. Can you read Jeremiah 31 and 31?
This is Jeremiah 31 and 31.
And read down to 34.
Okay. Behold, the days come, said Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
Okay, the day will come where he's gonna make a new covenant. Showing you that birth of that baby issues in that new covenant. Go ahead.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand.
In accordance to the time you were in your mother's womb. Don't change. Go ahead.
In the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, said Yahweh. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said Yahweh.
Okay, so he's letting you know right here that he getting ready to change this. This old law ain't gonna exist no more. And to be practicing this old law could be death unto you. Go ahead, read.
I will put my law in their inward parts.
I will put that law in their inward parts. Gotta see that heart change. You gotta see that. Go ahead.
And write it in their hearts.
Write it in their hearts. Isn't it written here? This arteriosis, Perennial Valley. Go ahead.
And will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor, and every man his brother, saying, Know ye Yahweh, for they shall all know me.
Okay. Go ahead.
From the least of them unto the greatest of them, said Yahweh.
Okay, that's not fair. Okay, somebody get for me Hebrews 1 and that real quick, because I'm on time now. Okay, so in other words, Yahweh Elohim told him he was gonna change this. This was not gonna be. He was gonna write it in their hearts. And the example that he wrote it in our hearts is right here with our fetal circulation and our fetal heart. When we were inside our mother's womb. That's an example of how it's going to change. And just as it changed instantaneously when the when you take that first breath, so is your life change. I got Hebrews 9:1 on the scripture lesson.
Oh, you want Hebrews 9:1 or 1 and 9?
9:1.
Okay, this is Hebrews 9:1. Then verily the first covenant had also orders of service.
Hello, first covenant has orders of service. This had a particular order that this blood had to circulate through this heart in order for that fetus to live inside the womb. Go ahead.
And a worldly sanctuary.
And it has a worldly sanctuary. Where is it located at? In the holy place. That's where your heart is located, right there in that holy place. One is all I want you to read. Finish it?
Yes.
Okay. And get me, I'll end on this one. 1 Corinthians 6:19. Now, as we were talking about, this is so important, as we mentioned in Genesis, because what triggers this change is the breath of life. And as it said in Genesis 2 and 4, and Yahweh breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Okay? So what a lot of people, what you need to understand is this, that when he breathed in your nostrils, when you left your mother's womb, the breath of life, this old law for that heart ended. And it might be missed by some people. Okay? In other words, that old law ended once Yahshua nailed it to the cross. okay? We don't need to do these old cardinal ordinances. He nailed that to the cross. Go ahead,
First
read.
Corinthians 6:19. What? Know ye not that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, which is in you, which ye have of Yahweh, and ye are not your own?
Okay, your body is a temple. That's letting us know that all the law we need is written inside of us. It's written on our heart. It's written on every part of the body. When Yahshua was born and came in and nailed this to the cross, that was the end of that law. If we carry this, drag it on over here, like this satanic spirit, did right here. He drug it right on over. He drug it right on over. That is death unto you. That's not life. If that baby drags over these open, patent holes in their heart, they are going to die if they do not close up. So if he give you a new heart at birth and breathed into your nostrils the breath of life and made you a living soul, then you belong to him from conception on through. He let you know you belong to him. Think about it is you have to be willing to accept that, know that, and understand that. Because what was valid here is not valid after his death, burial, and resurrection. And with that, I'd like to yield the floor. If anyone's got anything from that, praise Yahshua, because he's the only one who can open up your understanding and knowledge.
Let's say good morning or afternoon to the class. And I enjoyed it. I think if we paid attention, we should have got a lot out of that. I think that for me, I think that's Ezekiel. They're talking about he's going to give them a clean heart. I'm not sure where that is. Somebody can find that.
Ezekiel 36:24. For I will take from you among the heathen and gather you out of all countries and will bring you into your own land.
Now he's saying he's going to take you from all of the heathens of the nations, since Yahweh was the one that scattered them. See, he's the only one that could bring them back together. See, and we see that throughout the scriptures because whatever he sets up, he's the only one that can complete it. And he's the only one, if it's something that seems like it's kind of out of whack or something, he's the only one that can correct it. You understand what I'm saying? Classic example, hold that, and back here at the Tower of Babel, he confounded the people's languages, or he confused the tongues and scattered the people to the four corners of the earth. See, so now since he did that, so you're gonna have to see how he's reversing that. And that's coming, like on the day of Pentecost. Because that's when you're reading over there in the second chapter of Acts about all of these people coming together, from all of these different nations and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? And he's talking, he's talking about that right there. You see what I'm saying? But see now, a phenomenal thing happened. See, when the disciples, once they received the Holy Spirit, see, when they started speaking, all of the people that with all of these different nationalities are speaking all of these different languages, they started to understand. They said, well, are not these all Galileans? How hear we every man in our own tongue? See, so now the same thing since he scattered them back there, he's bringing them together over here. And all of a sudden, everybody is understanding the same thing. You understand? You see what I'm talking about? See, but go on there.
Okay. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you.
Now he said, I'm gonna sprinkle clean water upon you. See? And the previous speaker was talking about, that exchange, between the mother and the fetus, and how that blood is sprinkled. You see what I'm saying? See, so Yahweh, even in how he operates and how, you read the scriptures and stuff, you see the consistency there. You see that he's operating the same way. You understand? You see what I'm saying? He say, I'm gonna sprinkle you with clean water. Read.
And ye shall be clean from all your filthiness and from all your idols.
Now he gonna sprinkle clean water, and you're gonna be clean from all your filthiness and all of your idols. Read.
Will I cleanse you.
Mm.
A new heart also will I give you.
Now a new heart will I give you. And the first speaker was illustrating that, how, when in that transition from a fetus to a real live human being, it's a different heart. You see what I'm saying? See, and it's still the same heart, but it ain't operating the same way. It's definitely not operating the same way. Because I was reading in one of those definitions where she was talking about, how there's a like a whole kind of life, and what happens, I forget one of the definitions, but it talks about, how once that child receives the breath of life, that the thing, it takes the same amount of time for that opening to close up in that infant that it took to form the infant. It takes 9 months, from the time that this child receives. You see what I'm saying? See, because of that exchange that's going on, and I'm like, now that's you have to marvel at that, how Yahweh got that set up, how, once that change is made in the heart, you see what I'm saying? See, so you got something set up in your system for it to just close up. You understand what I'm saying? Rather than otherwise, like she said, you'd have a heart problem or you die. You see what I'm saying? See, but read on.
And a new spirit will I put within you.
Now he say he's gonna give you a new heart and a new spirit. You see what I'm saying? See, because now this old heart back here, see, and it's no coincidence that he wrote that law on tables of stone. That was to indicate, you see what I'm saying? That the nature of that thing, it was stony, it was rigid. You understand what I'm talking about? That's one reason why, like Moses come down and they got to be broken. You see what I'm saying? See, and he had to break those tables of stone, and that was indicated, like we was reading over there in the 31st chapter of Jeremiah. He said, my covenant they break, because they were still under that old stony law. You understand? And they were breaking it. They broke it from the very first time that it was given. The first thing he told them, don't make any graven images. That's the first thing they did.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It ain't something like, we ought to do this. No, they did that as soon as he said it. That's the first thing come to their mind. See, once Moses went up into that cloud, see, and then Aaron, and then come back down, they wanted to build something that looked just like those idols that they had when they came up out of the land of Egypt. So nothing had really changed in their heart at all. You understand what I'm saying? See, they were still doing the self-same thing, see? But read.
And I will take away their stony heart out of, I will take that whole stony heart out of your flesh, and I will give you a heart of flesh.
See, I'm gonna take that stony heart, see, out of your flesh and give you a heart of flesh. You see what I'm saying? See, so now see, he ain't talking about, no physical heart transplantation.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? See, it's the same heart, just like what you were talking about in that infant. That child got the same heart. You ain't got no different heart than what you started out with in your mother's womb.
Right.
It just don't work the same way.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And if it were to try to work the same way, that is death.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? See, and that's letting you know that people trying to do this stuff. See, and Paul, and it's in your scriptures, it says these are death-causing works. You see what I'm saying? See, and you living in the age of grace, you ain't supposed to be working no way. you understand? You follow what I'm talking about? See, you're supposed to be in the age of grace, and you're not supposed to be under the works of the law. See, read.
And I will put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. And ye shall dwell in the land that I give to your fathers, and ye shall be my people, and I will be your Elohim.
So now he's essentially telling you the same thing that Jeremiah told you over there in the 31st chapter. You see what I'm saying? See, and he's saying that spirit's that's going to be put in you is going to cause you to walk in his statutes. See, so what is that talking about? See, now this one here, I'm talking about Yahshua the Messiah. Yahshua the Messiah, see, now one thing that he had that nobody else on the face of the earth had was the absolute obedience to the will of Yahweh. You see what I'm saying? See, so now it's going to take a transformation. It's going to take that spirit of Yahshua the Messiah to be in you. You understand? See, to give you the spirit of obedience. That's how come over there in one place it said, now, let that mind, it should be spirit, let that spirit be in you that was in Yahshua the Messiah. See, because that spirit that was in Yahshua the Messiah was the spirit to do the will of Yahweh, or in other words, just simply to do right. You understand what I'm saying? See, because now, a whole lot of times before we knew anything about this gospel, we might have been doing wrong, but now we may not have recognized it as wrong within ourselves, because we always have ways of rationalizing things to make it seem like we're doing right. You see what I'm saying? But it's really wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Saying it's not according to the will of Yahweh. So it's going to take him to cause that transformation. You see what I'm saying? To put that spirit in somebody of true repentance. See, because now if you really repent from something, you don't do it anymore.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? See, and this law back here, see, these people were constantly repeating that stuff over and over. You understand what I'm saying? See, and if anything, it didn't do anything but magnify their own disobedience. See, because just say, for instance, you go a whole year and you're doing this and you're doing that and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? And maybe, you got this to offer up and whatnot, and then after you done did it, you thinking that maybe you done with it. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
But no, you're not.
right.
See, because every year, now that high priest, now what he got to do, he got to make atonement for himself. He got to make atonement for you. You understand what I'm saying? See, and then for the cleansing of the sanctuary. See, so now all that stuff you done did all year long. See, on that day of atonement, you gonna remember that. You understand what I'm saying? See, it ain't like, well, that's over with. You see what I'm saying? You are reminded that that's what you did, and this is what somebody got to do to take that off of you for a while. See, but see, and even in doing that, you're gonna be rocking in the same old boat 1 year from now. You understand what I'm saying? That's how come Paul said that this thing was against us. You see what I'm saying? See, and for somebody to try to reach back and take that up, and it was never given to them in the first place. You follow what I'm talking about? That ain't trying to keep the law. That's a perversion. Is what that is. You follow what I'm saying? You trying to do something that was never given to you in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So automatically you ain't gonna know how to do it, not right. You see what I'm saying? See, but the beautiful thing is that Yahweh has given us these kind of witnesses, see, that we can see right within ourselves, like what the first speaker was talking about. See, and you don't have to, people think, well, I gotta die or something like that to get a new heart. And she just showed you already got it. You understand what I'm saying? See, he already performed the work. You see what I'm saying? Right within your own physical body to let you know that thing has already took place. So, you're looking at the purpose and the plan of Yahweh operating right within you. See? And let's get Romans 1:19 again, and then we're gonna go to the scripture lesson. But start at 1:16.
Romans 1:16.
Mm-hmm.
For I am not ashamed of the glad tidings of the Messiah.
Now he said, now I am not ashamed of the glad tidings of the gospel of the Messiah. Read.
For it is the power of Yahweh unto salvation.
Now it is the power of Yahweh unto salvation. You follow what I'm saying? See, or in other words, see, it's the power to save you. You understand what I'm saying? See, and some people think, well, I don't need saving. Yes, you do. You need saving from yourself. See, but first of all, it's got to be pointed out to you just what kind of person you are. You understand what I'm saying? See, because everybody got a high ideal of what they think that they are. And then he showed you that, you ain't what you thought you were. You see what I'm saying? And you've been doing stuff, according to your way. You see, and he said, my ways are not your ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts. And the scriptures even tell us, they say, there's a way that seemeth right to a man. They say, but the ways thereof are sin and death. You see? But read.
It is the power unto salvation to everyone that believeth.
To everyone that believeth. See? And that's the whole point. You got to believe it. It and it's real. It ain't something abstract. You see? Read.
To everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek or Gentile.
See, to the Jew first, and then also to the Gentiles. You see what I'm saying? See, so he came to the ones the very ones that he gave the ordinances and the commandments and the promises to. You understand what I'm saying? See, so he had to, they're the natural branch. He got to go to them first. Right. They say, and then to the Gentiles of the other nations. See, because the promise was, in thy seed, I'm going to bless all the families of the earth. That ain't leaving nobody out. Read.
For therein is the righteousness of Yahweh revealed from faith to faith,
Read.
as it is written, the just shall live by faith.
Mhm.
For the wrath of Yahweh shall be revealed from heaven against all impropriety and unrighteousness of men.
Now the wrath of Yahweh shall be revealed against all impiety and unrighteousness of men. Or in other words, see, if you're doing contrary to what he wants, it ain't no ifs, ands about it. The wrath is on you, though. You understand what I'm saying? See, the wrath shall be revealed. Read.
Who hold the truth in unrighteousness.
Who hold the truth in unrighteousness. See, that's somebody that know the truth and will not do it. You understand what I'm saying? Read.
Because that which may be known of Yahweh is manifest in them.
See, that which may be known of Yahweh is manifest in them. Read.
For Yahweh has shown it unto them.
Mm-hmm.
For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made.
Read.
Even his eternal power and supernal nature, so that they are without excuse.
So that they are without excuse. So we don't have any excuse. You see what I'm saying? See, and he's proven it to us, and he can take, the way that you're made from a natural standpoint and show you his purpose. See, go over to Hebrews 9:1.
This is Hebrews 9:1. Then verily the first covenant had also orders of service and a worldly sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
For in the first compartment of the tabernacle were the candlestick, the table, and the showbread.
And now we see how he's talking according to this. You see what I'm saying? See, because this part here, I'm talking about the holy place and the most holy place, was covered over. See, so essentially, these were the two compartments, because this part here was open to the air. That's why it's called the quarter round bow. You understand? So he's talking about these two compartments here. Read.
And the showbread, which is called the holy place.
Okay, they had the table and the showbread, which is called the holy place. Read.
And beyond the veil, the second compartment of the tabernacle.
Now beyond the veil, the second compartment of the tabernacle. Read.
Which is called the Holy of Holies.
Which is called the Holy of Holies, or the most holy place. Read.
Which hath the golden censer and the ark of the covenant overlaid round about with gold.
Now you see how he's speaking here. See, because now actually, see this golden censer. Now the place for that censer was right here at the altar of incense. You see, because they had to take coals from off of this altar back here. See, and they mixed it with those four principal ingredients, the stacte, onycha, galbanum, and frankincense, to make up that incense. But now he's talking about the golden censer being in here. Now the golden censer only was in there on the Day of Atonement when the high priest went in. You understand what I'm talking about? See, because he had to take the coals from off of that altar, mix it with that incense. See, because when he went in there on the Day of Atonement, see, he had to go in on a cloud. You understand what I'm talking about? See, because Yahweh said he would appear in the cloud. That high priest went in there on a cloud and he came back on a cloud. You understand what I'm saying? Now, the reason for that is because now when Joshua goes through his death, burial, and resurrection, you're going to have to see him ascend on a cloud. See? And then when they stood looking up there in the sky trying to wonder what's going on, he said, ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing in the heaven? The same Joshua you seen ascend shall descend in like fashion. See, so he's coming back in clouds. But see, those clouds are, the crinkle up gray and white matter in your brain. You see? Since he said he's going to put his law in your inward parts, You see, so it would have to be in a man. See, so he going in on a cloud, so he got this high priest got to show that. You see what I'm saying? See, he's got to go in there with that censer. See, and he is sprinkling that blood. See, 7 times toward the mercy seat for his own errors, 7 times toward the mercy seat for the sins of the people. See, and then the cleansing of the sanctuary, that's taking place at the altar of incense here. You follow what, you understand what I'm talking about to make the complete operation, see? But see now, yeah, but read on this, go on.
Wherein was the golden pot
Mhm.
that had manna,
Okay, now see, it had the golden pot that had manna, talking about inside this ark of the covenant. Read.
and Aaron's rod that budded, and the tables of the covenant.
Now it had Aaron's rod that budded. See, in the tables of the covenant are those 10 commandment stones which Moses hewed out himself went in there. You understand? See, because the first ones, Yahweh, he broke those. He had to hew out his own tables of stone. But see, now you got 3 things in there. You got the pot of manna. See, you understand? And Aaron's rod that budded. And then the tables of the covenant. You see? Read on.
And over it the cherubim of glory shadowing the mercy seat.
And over it, the cherubim of glory shadowing or overshadowing the mercy seat. Read.
Of which we cannot speak particularly.
Of which we cannot speak particularly. Now, there's no way that they can speak particularly about that. See, because now the only one that saw that was the high priest. You understand? You see what I'm saying? See, now once that thing was completed, you follow what I'm saying? The only person that could go near that thing was the high priest. And he had to be very, very careful how he did that, or that man was dead. You understand? See, if he mixed up the wrong kind of incense, he would die on the spot. See, you understand what I'm saying? See, and what he would see or what would be revealed to him is that flashing of the Shekinah, and that actually means the presence of Yahweh. And see, and he would have to feel that presence of Yahweh in order for him to know that the sins of the people had been forgiven for that particular year. See, and then he would put on the garments of beauty, splendor, and glory. See, because those garments of beauty, splendor, and glory, they were made in such a fashion to announce the completion of that atonement. See, with those bells and pomegranates on the hem of that garment, see, when that man would walk, see, they would hear the ringing of those bells. That's the only way that those people knew that their sins had been forgiven for that particular year. You understand what I'm talking? You see what I'm saying? See, so now you got 600 some odd thousand people out there. Them people on pins and needles. They don't know if Aaron mess up, he's subject to get killed. And look, all of them animals wasn't nothing but substitutes. See, and all of that guilt that you had been pushed aside to those animals would still be on you. And the penalty for any kind of sin is death.
Mm. Let's stand and bow our hearts and minds. Now unto him that is able to keep falling and to present you faultless before the presence of his glory with exceeding joy. To the only wise Elohim, our Savior, through Yahshua the Messiah, our sovereign, belong glory and majesty, dominion and power, both before all time, now and ever. Let us all say, hallelujah.
What's up, Tony? What's up, man? I'll go.
I got to get over here.